Hi there, it's Marcy Chavalis and it's story time. Today's story is Curious George and the Puppies by Margret HA Rey. I'm excited to read this story because Curious George is always getting into trouble, and each story has something funny that happens. It looks like there's some puppies going wild in this story. We're going to have to read to find out why the puppies have gone wild. All right, let's flip it over. And it gives us a little clue here about what we're going to be reading about. It says, which came first? Read the story and put the sequence below in order. It looks like they're looking at puppies and giving them bones. Ooh, puppies running away. Puppies going back into their enclosure. And people looking very surprised. So we're going to have to read and figure out how to put these things in order. Oh my. I wonder how these puppies got out. Why did George open the gate? Well, let's figure out what happened. Are you ready? Let's grow. Curious George and the Puppies. If you're an AR reader, this is an AR book. It's level 3.0, worth half a point, and it's quiz number 41853. This is George. George was a good little monkey and always very curious. One day, George went for a walk with his friend, the man with the yellow hat. Are you curious just like George? George likes to know what's going on. When they sat down to rest, they noticed a tiny kitten peeking out from under a bush. The kitten looked frightened. Perhaps she's lost, said the man with the yellow hat. Together, he and George searched the park for the little kitten's owner, but the kitten was all alone. What do you think you'd do if you came across a kitten that was all alone? Would you leave it there? Would you try to find the owner like they did? Let's see what happens next. This kitten is too young to be on her own, the man said. We should take her to the animal shelter where they can care for her and find her a home. So George and the kitten and the man with the yellow hat drove to the animal shelter. Where are they going? That's right, the animal shelter is the place where lost animals go. The director of the shelter was glad to see them. It was good of you to bring the kitten here, she said. We will be happy to take care of her. George gave the kitten to the director. Then he and the man with the yellow hat walked inside. Come in, the director said, but watch where you step. We have a large litter of puppies and one has gotten out of his cage. We're still looking for him, so please be careful. She closed the door quickly behind them. George had never been to an animal shelter before. Animals of all kinds were being cared for here. George saw bunnies, cats, turtles, and guinea pigs. He even saw a snake. But he didn't see any puppies. George, I need to sign some papers, said the man with the yellow hat. Please stay here and don't be too curious. Do you think George is going to be able to listen to that? I mean, he's called Curious George. And we did see a clue that there's puppies running everywhere. So, I'm going to predict that George does not stay there. And that he gets too curious and does something he probably shouldn't. What do you think? Good readers make predictions. Let's read to confirm our prediction. Just as the man with the yellow hat left the room, George heard barking. Maybe it was the puppies. But where was it coming from? George was curious. He followed the barking noises and found a room full of dogs. There were yellow dogs, spotted dogs, sleek dogs, and fluffy dogs. There were quiet dogs and yappy dogs, and even a dog without a tail. But where were the puppies? Then George saw a little wagging tail. Then another. And another. Oh, George looks like he's super excited to see these puppies. Would you be excited to see some puppies at the shelter? They're so cute. Once George saw the puppies, he could not take his eyes off them. He had to pet one. Here was a puppy like George. George wanted to hold the puppy. Slowly, he opened the door. Wait, uh-oh. Is George supposed to be doing that? He wants to pet the puppies. Should we just open the door and let them all out? no, he needs to go get a grown-up to help him. But before George could even reach the puppy, the mother dog pushed the door open and was off like a shot. George tried to close the door after her, but the puppies were too fast. There was nothing George could do. Oh, so that's what happened. George wanted to pet the puppy, and when he went to open the gate to pet the puppy, the mommy pushed through, and they all ran out. Puppies were everywhere. Puppies hid under the desk. Puppies barked at bunnies. One puppy played with a telephone cord, and another climbed on top of a cage to watch the others get into mischief. Soon all the dogs were barking, the cats were meowing, and the bunnies rustled into the corner of their cage. This is crazy. Mayhem. I don't think the people who were in charge of the shelter were expecting this to happen. Oh man. He's gotten himself into trouble, and look at their surprised face. They're like, what is going on? Oh no, cried the director as she and the man with the yellow hat rushed into the room. Now all the puppies are out. The man with the yellow hat helped the director gather up the puppies and put them safely back in their cage. Soon all the animals settled down and were quiet. Except for one, who was still barking. It was the mother dog. What was she barking at? There was nothing here but a door. Do you think she's just barking at the door, or she knows something? Can she smell or hear something that they can't? Let's read and find out. There must be something on the other side, thought George. He opened the door. It was the missing puppy. Everyone was happy to finally find the puppy. The director scooped him up and said, George, you certainly caused a ruckus, but if you hadn't let the puppies out, we might still be searching for this little one. Then she gave the puppies and their mother a snack. These puppies are now big enough to go live with families who will take care of them, she said. Do you want to take one home with you, George? Oh, I wonder if George is going to take the puppy home. George did. Oh, he did. Let's take a look. Complete the picture below to show what other mischief the puppies got into after George let them out of their cage. Do you remember what happened? Oh, yeah. They were barking at the bunnies. The bunnies were in the cage, and the kittens were scared and meowing. My goodness. Let's go see if we can put the story in order. All right, what was the first thing that happened? They gave puppies treats. The cage was open, and the mommy pushed through. The cage was open, or they were surprised. And you think of what was the first thing that happened? Oh, yes. George opened the gate so he could pet a puppy. Then what happened? Yes, the mommy pushed through and all the dogs ran out. Then, yep, the man with the yellow hat and the director were surprised because they saw all the craziness happening. And they finally got all the animals where they're supposed to be and gave them a treat. Good job. I can tell that you are a great reader reading along with me today. I'm so thankful you read Curious George and the Puppies with me. If you would like to share this story with kids and families and classrooms all around the world, click the like button right now, and this story will be shared with someone who might not have been able to see this. If you would like to hear my very next story when it comes out, click the subscribe bell right now so that you'll be notified when my next story comes out. And if you like this story so much you'd like to share it with someone else by giving them a gift or getting a copy for yourself, click the link in my description box so that you can go grab your own copy of this story. All right, until next time, goodbye, friends.